Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a different kind of video than we usually do. If you saw the cover then you probably know, or the title. Today we're going to be trying to reverse the Rome Reconquista. Now if you don't know what that is, basically it's just what I call it. Because remember, if you don't know what the Reconquista is, it was basically after the Muslims came to Spain, it was the Christians slowly pushing them back and out. This, for me, the Roman Reconquista was after they were banished to the Balkans. They retreated southern Italy, Corsica. Sorry. Okay. Corsica. Let's forget that. Corsica, Sardinia. They retreated Corsica, Sardinia here, and eventually they pushed out. So they had their own kind of Reconquista. They've reconquered all their old lands. That was a pretty influential and big part of the series. Today we're going to be trying to reverse the Roman Reconquista. Now this was a pretty important thing, as it did shape out a lot of the series later on. I think Corsica belonged to Rome. Oh yeah, they lost it. Never mind. It shaped out a lot after the World Wars. World War V specifically, World War IV, had Rome was really involved. And yeah, without further ado, let's start off. So the first thing I want to do is kind of further weaken Rome. If you don't remember, they are in the Circle Alliance. So for this, we're gonna have to have them lose even greater. So my suggestion is for this mid-war. So when the borders were kind of like this, they occupied all here. Oh no, whoops. I meant they didn't occupy this country. They occupied all here. The Italian Union resists the Romans better and manages to drive them back. So this will give them a bit more war score in the peace treaty. Have Rome looking like this after the war. This is my World War II map. I'm making scenario this right after I finish this one. But so, yeah, I spent like 3 nights designing all of these maps. I admin like every scenario I could think of. But anyway, so the alliances, as we can see, okay here, the Italian Union, this country, Croatia, Greece, and all these guys are all in the Triangle Alliance. I hope I got this part right. The Score Alliance consists of Norway, Russia, and the Old Empire. So the borders don't look different. So what exactly can you say went different? Well, I'm going to be placing more economic sanctions around. Leave to seize, give more assets away to the other powers, and yeah. Brief interruption, guys. I know what I'm sorry I have to do this, but we are at 47 at the time of recording subscribers, almost at 50, which is halfway to our goal of 100. If you can help us get to 100 subscribers, obviously you know the drill. 3 exclusive videos. One is on WICSO, 2 are not, but they are pretty important, and I think would be cool to see. So if you want us to get those videos and if you want to see them, then help us get to our subscriber goal by January 1st. And that is all, and let's continue the video. So I would have World War II start in the same way with the what's it called? Russian invasion of Poland, the POW thing, Mesopotamia gets dragged in. You know how it is. It was a pretty long war, so I'm not gonna map all of it out. But in this, I do want the what's it called? Triangle Lines to put up a better defense. So when the war does end, when the Dutch gets involved and everything, uh, wait. So when the Dutch get involved and all that happens, it'll be like more of a stalemate. These are what I think the borders will look like. Alright, so this is what I think the world would look like by the time it ended in our timeline. So a few crucial differences are, one, the African Union is in the Triangle Alliance because they don't trust that the old empire just won't colonize the world or after, because they know their imperialist ambitions, and they convinced Europe to relieve its control of most of colonial Africa in exchange for their support in the war. So that's why Libya and French Egypt haven't fully fallen yet. Then we're heading over to Greece. Thanks to a better triangle defense, we see the Greeks still managing to exist. A great Bulgar and Dutch offensive leaves the Farmers' Union almost crippled, and the Dutch still manage to hold out on eastern Poland, all while using less reserves and being fair to the natives. Next, next over here, we see that Galicia is actually in the Triangle Alliance, fearful that the what's it called, the Imperians and the Squares will take away their colonial order, which they don't want to happen. All these countries, plus the factor of better triangle defense, in my opinion, has led to a kind of stalemate in the war. So yes, I plan for this war to be a stalemate. Both sides agreeing to peace a few years later than they would have with no real gains. Alright, for the peace treaty, first heading over to North Africa, we're going to be seeing the old empire see this land right over here. It's a lot less than it took in our timeline, but that was surely because of their a lot more success in Africa. The rest of this will actually be split between a new independent Egypt and a colonial order, which will look like over here, with the majority of the land being given over to Egypt by the oops. We're gonna forget about the border gore. Well, the rest of this is returned right over to the French colonial administration. So Egypt is looking something like this. Libya will be given, sorry, I mean almost all the country going under the new independent Libyan government, which will look like this. Just gotta erase that line I accidentally made. There we go. So Italy's called, oh whoops, I did something wrong. Let me just go back. Okay, so I did that right. Oh, I did the line thing again. I knew it. One pixel, I'm telling you, one pixel. It's always the root of everything. So where was I at? Oh yeah. The new Libyan government, which is fully free from their colonial occupiers. Well, almost fully free. As the Italians still have, like these enclaves in the north. So I was saying they'll be free to choose their own endeavors. Heading south, this remains under French control, while Galicia and Andalusia retain full control of their colonies. Tanzania is not too happy about that. The Dutch, in the meanwhile, don't really see the use in keeping together this African colony, as their focus is mainly shifted over to the North American one. The Dutch will be actually giving full independence to all of this except Madagascar. This is where things get interesting though. Now moving over to West Africa. Firstly, they'll be giving land over to the African Union. Right here, it's obviously less land than the African Union got in our timeline, but that's kind of because they're allied with them instead of, like, you know, being enemies. Sorry, where was I? Our next country will, this kind of Chad country over here, they're going to be released. Following the Chad country, we actually have a, where is this? Niger country. Kind of Niger country, which appears. I think it would be better if I just speed ran it. So, West Africa is looking like this. And here is the general of Africa. It went from that what you just saw to this. Now, as you can see, the sign team still retains a lot more valuable areas here, at least in North. Um, Up in Europe, I don't think there'd be too many border changes, although I can see Rome gaining some land, which I'll show here. And here's our map of Europe. Honestly, it kind of shows the stalemate. Um, the Farmers Union got absolutely cooked from this. Bulgaria took a lot of their land. The Dutch made this kind of puppet reliant state out of their land. Poland still exists, but is under Dutch orbit. The Dutch took some land, the Russians took some land, Scandinavia got no, Norway got the rest of Scandinavia, and that's really it. Rome got a little bit of land, but and Greece still exists. That's something to know. The old empire couldn't finish off Greece in this timeline, so they kind of looked like the Ottomans before the Balkan War, just they had like this as well, on top of like South Euphrates. So, after this, I could see a kind of Cold War dynamic break out. It won't be like the way you thought it would. Would it be the way I can see Russia and the Empire sticking together in this timeline against the Dutch, which is a bigger threat. I could also see the Dutch making their own faction, which would include Dutch make their own faction, which would include themselves, all of Western Europe, including Iberia. West Africa would probably leave after this. Um, I could see Greece would definitely join this because they probably know it that the old empire would just finish them off. They didn't have any protection, so Greece would join. These guys would kind of be blind to join, and I also think Poland, with their Dutch influence, would also join this, simply just because of a sheer amount of Dutch influence within it. For the square lines, it's also pretty straightforward. We could have um, Farmers Republic join. Rome would remain in it for sure. Could look at geopolitical tensions. Finland, I could also see joining because of their ties with Norway and because they don't want Russia to destroy them. And I actually also think that in this new order, India would join too. They would. India would be kind of a de facto member. So I'm gonna light their color up a bit. There we go. Because India is Indian land, so they still have good relations and full diplomatic relations with all of Western Europe. And plus they're training with them too, which these guys do not. So in this new order, I think in the power ranking, first with the Dutch Empire, the Old Empire, Russia, the Italian Union, Andalusia, France, Iberia, and oh, I forgot about India. Forget it, they're like fourth or something. Push the rankings down a bit. So, you think this would stop the Reconquista? No. After a World War V would happen, which I could see the borders turning, or World War III against these two, which I could see the borders for this. Actually, wait, for this war, we need to have triangles win. So, in a hypothetical treaty, you could see Rome going like this after the war. I can see Slovenia form kind of a Yugoslavia by annexing Rome completely. The farmers' union is gone, and that what I think would happen if the Rome Reconquista never happened. A very interesting scenario for me personally because Russia, the old empire, stayed together. Both of them fell together. The Italian Union survived. One of my personal favorite countries, by the way. And we see Big Bulgaria. Everyone likes Big Bulgaria, right? But anyway, I hope to see you all soon. Um, uh, God, why am I stuttering so much? Sandy Bowles earlier, 100 subs, guys. Please subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Goodbye. Have a nice